Welcome back, everyone. We're going to stay with cars tonight because there's so much happening to oil prices. As you will have noticed, filling up. They're sitting at record highs, and today we saw more consequences of that. British Airways is to put up their prices. The Japanese share market has fallen on the back of the impact of oil prices on their economy, and the IMF is warning us all to get used to it. Why? Well, mostly because demand for oil exceeds supply of oil by so much. More and more oil is being consumed, and there simply ain't enough of it. So chronic is the situation becoming that life as we know it will inevitably change dramatically and fairly soon. Richard Langston explains, and he begins on the trail of oilcrash.com.
Oilcrash.com. It doesn't sound good. It's even freaking some people out of the city. One guy's taken the message so seriously, he's gone bush to the Coromandel.
Well, I just saw it around. I thought oil crash, I didn't really want to know about it.
36-year-old Mike Gibson, artist and film worker, used to be a city boy. Not any longer.
Welcome to my summer pad. This is where I'll be cooking. My gas setup over here, just underway. And getting my water from down the bottom. Just fill it up and that's taking care of that.
Oilcrash.com is a website devoted to the future of oil, or more precisely, the lack of it. On the site, Mike Gibson discovered the ominously titled documentary, End of Suburbia.
Normal is living in suburbs. Normal is consuming like there's no tomorrow.
That was kind of like a bomb going off underneath me and spurred me to actually take a few decisions.
The End of Suburbia makes a short, brutal point. The stuff that powers our cars, our industry, our very way of life, cheap oil, is running out. And much faster than most of us probably realise. Who's saying this? Not sandal-wearing bearded lefties, but oil industry experts and geologists.
We are going to run into serious trouble by 2010, more or less.
The peak has happened. We've moved beyond asking if there is a peak to ask how big it is, how soon it is.
Peak oil is when world oil production hits its peak and goes into decline. Some believe we'll hit the peak within 5 years, including a leading New Zealand geologist.
I actually think we're just edging into it now. I'd be very surprised if it hasn't happened by 2010, but we probably won't recognize it clearly until we're a few years beyond it.
When it does take hold, we'll know all about it. Some experts are predicting major fuel blackouts within 3 years.
It wouldn't surprise me to see price easing up to $70 a barrel within the next year or so, and perhaps ending up in the $100 to $200 a barrel range in 5 to 10 years' time, and then the sky's the limit.
Without cheap oil, we won't have life as we know it. It fueled the population and industrial boom of the 20th century. It's everywhere, used to make cell phones, computers, televisions.
Just so many things we use without even thinking. Supermarket bags, every item of plastic, every cell phone's made of plastic, tires on automobiles, and all the power. Oil is 40% of the power base that we use.
So the meaning of the decline of oil dawned on Mike Gibson. He decided he needed to learn survival skills.
First off, 5 shovels of the earth mix, which is nice and crumbly.
How to build a mud house, grow vegetables.
The lifestyle that we've got at the moment is quite limited and unsustainable, given that the oil reserves are getting a lot lower, which has implications for society and just about every way that we live at the moment.
Young people especially are going to have to worry about this a lot. Now, me, I may live out my years in reasonable comfort, but the world is going to be different for them.
Cheap oil will end this century. No one disputes that. It's just the dates vary. Our government takes the optimistic view.
It is going to be a problem one day, but maybe we're not that close to it yet.
So when do you think, as Energy Minister, as someone who has to know about this, when do you think it's going to happen?
The best estimates that we have at the moment is that it will be somewhere in a number that begins with 203. It'll be somewhere in the 2030s.
So the pessimists, they'd call themselves the realists, say peak oil will hit within 5 years. The optimists say it won't be for at least another 25.
I certainly wouldn't be panicking. I'd be thinking, I'd be planning that.
I think it's about time to develop a plan B. And I also think that maybe they're not paying enough attention to global markets and the impact that China and India are starting to have, not just on oil, but on raw commodities in general.
Irrespective of when peak oil hits, here's a sobering statistic. At full capacity, the world's oil fields can produce 80 million barrels a day. In 5 years, we'll need an additional 50 million to keep up with demand. The experts say the oil simply isn't there. And this is not a conspiracy theory.
Will we come down softly, or will it be a very hard landing? Will depend greatly on what the extent to which our politicians accept there is a problem.
Everybody has to make a change at some stage, so I've just decided maybe to make a change a little earlier than other people.
Richard Langston reporting. If you want to find out more about that story, we suggest you try www.oilcrash.com, www.oilcrash.com. After the break, Helen makes her own dress and goes to the school ball. It's so exciting. Also, a photo essay that reflects the end of summer. But in the meantime, ponder this.